All right, so we're going to keep going with addressing a comment here regarding two of the three worst mineral stocks, quote unquote, quote end quote, that I covered about a week or two ago. Hecla Mining Company. And as we can see, their stock was first public in 1984. And it is actually lower than it's ever been. $16, $14 is how it hit the market. And it's now at $6. But again, that's just what people are willing to pay for it. So let's look at what the commenter says. HL have invested heavily in Casa Berardi and Kino in the last 2 years for future production. HL is the largest silver producer in the US and in Canada within this year. Okay. HL's projects that await permitting with HL projects that so they have projects that will double their production. HL have one of the lowest AISC and highest silver ore bodies among their peers. So let's see what we got. Let's go back into the financials of this company here. And we can see, so the revenues come up a little bit. Went way up, then leveled back off, but it's still coming back up year over year. Total expense seems to stay below their revenue, so that's a good thing. Yeah, they're never going above it. And their balance sheet, it keeps going up actually too for the total assets. So they're buying more stuff that's useful. Lends credence to the whole projects awaiting permitting. Those are probably assets waiting for those projects. And their total debt's quite small, and it's not even $1 billion, and their total assets is $3 billion as of last year. So definitely doing pretty well. I think we said that they weren't one of the worst stocks in that video. I don't remember. I just know that's what ChatGPT said, and then we looked at the numbers like we always do. So let's see about these other parts here. We got Casa Berardi. Whatever that is. Hecla, Quebec. It's interesting that maybe Hecla's an area. Okay, so Casa Berardi. It looks like it is a mining facility. Okay, and we can see an announcement from Hecla.com there. That's cool. So that gives us some idea of what's going on with that. And then the other one, Kino. You know what? Let's just add the word mine there. Alright, so we have this Kino City. Well, we'll start with Casa Berardi. So Casa Berardi mine, according to Wiki, 95 kilometers, 59 miles north. Okay, so that's just not the size of Quebec, of La Sarre in Quebec, Canada. Trackless underground mine with an open pit component. The mine has provable and probable reserves. Or is that probable? Provable and probable? Probably not probable. Reserves of 1,542,000 ounces of gold. Sounds like a lot of gold. In 2016, the East Mine Crown Pillar EMCP open pit began development at capital cost of $39 million Development is expected to take 5.5 years. So this seems like it might be out of date. Because we're past that now. That would have been 2021 and a half, whatever. Okay, so yeah, this is not in, it's Wikipedia. So let's go look at what they're saying here. Casa Berardi, 100% ownership of this mining area. 22.5 kilo ounces, I think, of silver and 90.4 kilo ounces of gold. This was in 2023. Okay. Yeah. So that's the numbers that we're seeing here. They're rounding up, but I mean, who cares? So the Casa Berardi mine is situated 95 kilometers north of La Serre, Quebec, and straddles 37 kilometer section of the Casa Berardi fault. That's pretty cool. So, yeah, I mean, it seems like it's solid. Doesn't seem to be any foul play. It'd be nice to see Casa Berardi mine yields 2024. I wonder if we can see that. First quarter production results. Let's see what they got here. That's awesome. So they have a 43% increase in production in silver. Okay. This is some random. Okay, whatever. And is it talking about that specific mine? No, it doesn't seem like they're talking about that one mine. So the math I was about to do isn't gonna work. But that's still good. I mean, the first quarter of 2024 compared to the fourth quarter, so the prior quarter, oh, shit, it says right there. They went up by 43%. So whatever they were making last year, you just multiply it by 0.43 and you get your, well, okay, I guess, but multiply it by 1.43 and you get your actual current number. Gold production. So the silver went up. Gold was about the same. Do we see anything about the other? So I don't see them mentioning. I mean, okay, you know what? Maybe these are actually parts of. Like, let's see, Green Creek. Where's Green Creek? Hecla, Alaska. Well, that could be part of that track, I guess. Lucky Friday, Idaho. Keno Hill is probably in Keno. Okay, well, I don't know. It doesn't give a lot of information here on this. Let's see if we can find anything else for how they're doing. This is the second quarter, ft.com. What did they say? Yeah, okay, so this is recent. 10% increase. Looks like this is actually the same information. So let's see if we can find. Okay, so here's sec.gov. I don't know what this is. Security.government, perhaps. And this is apparently the same information here. Breaks it down, which is interesting. Maybe I'm just feeling disappointed because it's way less juicy than the first majestic Sprott deal that we read about last video. but it shouldn't be about that, right? But I think this person's right. You know, it looks like they position themselves in a good place to get a foothold and kind of regain what they lost. Because again, Hecla, I'll say HL stock. Past day, past week's going up, past month it's ticked up. Be interesting to see why it has recently, but it's pretty much flat. This year, past 5 years, I had another bump up in 2021, and then max, it's kind of been flat. It's, well, yeah, if you look at this, you can see that it went down to like almost $2, and it's steadily, you know, it goes through these dips and then it comes back up a little higher. What is their projection? Whatever this is, what do they think? What the hell? So probability above the line. Okay, so I mean, it sounds like this thing thinks they're gonna go up next year in August and dip down at the end of August. Okay, and then go up again to here. Maybe. Weird. That tool isn't super helpful to me because I don't really know what the heck I'm looking at. But yeah, I mean, I don't see any issues with this, but we could try to dig further to see if there's something that stands out that seems like it's, I don't know, messed up somehow. Cost priority. I mean, it'd be nice to see. Okay, let's see if this company gives us some information. Yeah, so 10%, I mean, this is the same kind of news report we're seeing. Yeah, I mean, they're increasing their production, not by huge amounts, but you know, it's not always that important as long as it's consistently moving up. I mean, in this particular situation, well, steady production's good. At least they're not going down. Or are they? So Green Creek's produced 2.2 million ounces of silver and 14. So they, I mean, it's interesting. All the places that they have both gold and silver. At least that's what they're looking for in these areas. And there was a decrease of 9% and 3% respectively of both of those. So 9% of the silver ore and 9% of the gold ore went down by these amounts in the first quarter, it seems. Due to grades reverting to plan. Okay, I mean, it sounds like that's planned, I guess. I'm not really sure. But, I mean, this seems to make up for it pretty well. I mean, I guess we could just look at the numbers that it would be, right? Oh, I was looking at some large numbers before. And I guess we're kind of trying to do that anyways, right? But we could just do 2.2 times. I'm probably gonna mess this up so badly. So that's how much it decreased by. Oops. That's not what I meant to do. Okay, 0.198. Oh man, I'm doing this wrong. 2.2 minus 0.18. See how I went to that for this. So we're looking at silver. And it was at 1.3. We'll multiply that by 1.23, and we get that. So, well, okay, we don't even care about that, right? We just want to know the difference in actual amounts, because that's really what matters. So 1.3 times 0.23 is that much. So it makes up for it, and then we just take that, subtract that much from it. So that's how much more they're making if we just compared these two lines for silver, Greens Creek and Lucky Friday. So they're still coming out on top with that. And then this is an increase of 5% from this. It's not going to be close to that number, but it's something. And that increased a lot too. So that's probably at like a little over $1 million now at this point in Keno Hill. Yeah, and it's increased. So I don't know if they just struck a good place, or if they figured out a better production method or mining method or prospecting method. But yeah, I mean, it looks like, so due to higher and more consistent mill throughput that averaged 406 TPD, I forget what that means, a 47% improvement over the first quarter. Silver grade was strong for the quarter, averaging 25.1 ounces per ton. So I guess, yeah, that's a lot of processing. They have to process a ton of material in order to get 25.1 ounces of silver from Keno. Amazing amount of work that goes into that mining process, clearly. But yeah, no, I mean, it sounds like they're definitely doing fine, unless the amount of increase is not covered by the amount of increase that they're getting. But even that could be a short-term issue. You know, if they made these acquisitions, they vetted the ore deposits properly, and it'll just keep bringing them, netting them more and more profit over the years, so should be fine. Does it give us a overall here? No, not really. So these are the decreases. We could put a little spreadsheet out. I think, let's see, how easy would that be? Can I just trying to think if I could do that in an easy way. Well, it doesn't matter. We did one of the calculations right here. So that's 100,000. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah, it'd be 100,000. So 101,000 increase, and then you add these other ones, and they do lead too, which is interesting. So they're doing silver, gold, and lead. Oh, and zinc. I wonder if they do other ones that are just not listed here. But that's interesting that they're not just tied to silver and gold. It seemed like First Majestic really was just doing one type, which I get. I'm sure that doing the processing for all these different ores, materials is different. So you need different equipment, different training, different ways to tell where something is. But I would definitely say that Hecla is probably pretty strong, at least compared to First Majestic. Although, you know, are they going to be able to get out of this? Who knows? But it also depends on, like, do we care about that? There's other things, like dividends can be great. They've been around since the 80s. So what if we look at if they have dividends? You know, okay, so they have dividends too. As long as they, you know, don't just totally tank, you could, okay, so 2.5 cents per share. So if you had, and what's the share of these things? Right now it's $6. So let's say if you had, we'll just say 10 grand. Actually, you know what? Let's just say, no, actually, let's say that 10 grand divided by 6. Okay, so if you had 1,600 shares, and then multiply that by 25 cents. Well, yeah, so you put 10 grand down, and you're gonna make $41 a year. So not the best dividends, but I mean, shit, what dividends really wouldn't add that much. It's something, I guess. I feel like with any of those dividends things, you need quite a bit, quite a bit of capital down. So I mean, they're not terrible. They're making money. They, maybe it's not like an investor stock per se, but they're definitely making money. It seems like they're doing fine business wise, and don't know what these numbers mean, but like, what is this saying? This is how much gold the money's making them, or what percentage of? Yeah, well, an interesting stock for sure. What else did they say? Oh yeah, they have one of the lowest AISCs. What does that mean again? AISC is all-in sustaining costs. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. Their total debt is not even $1 billion. It's about $500 million. So they're not having to spend a whole lot to keep the operation going. They have a lot in assets. They have $3 billion in assets total right now, which, some of that's like stuff they need, but still pretty good position to be in. And they have one of the highest silver ore bodies amongst their peers, apparently, which is pretty cool. There's not much else to say about that. Cool company. Anyways, take care.